Girl, real talk. This whole "it's a new year, time to reinvent myself" trash is not the vibe for 2024. You can find someone who loves you for you, as you are. You don't need to read a stack of self-help books, only eat sad salads, or start meditating at 5 a.m. to be ready for dating. So yeah, my advice is to download Bumble and find someone who embraces you the way you are right now. Let me know how it goes.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Central Texas Life. It is really a joy for me to welcome Sandi Horton and Charles Wallis to the podcast. Sandi, we have known each other quite a while. Sandi is a native flautist, and it's just fascinating what she does and the sounds she makes and the places she takes you with her music. Charles Wallis, this is the first time I've had a chance to interview you as an award-winning artist. And you are collaborating together between music and art for an amazing exhibit that will be at Cultivate 712.
That's correct. It's called Celebrating Emotions and Primary Colors. When people's emotions are associated with colors often, for example, fear is associated primarily in research with red and black, which is a surprise that both would be equal. And then third in line association is gray. Now, somebody who's scared by a dog may attach fear to brown or something, but,
right.
But people don't
dog,
necessarily attach the same color to the same emotional feelings, but colors will give them an emotion.
Well, I read something that you said color emotions are very personal and subjective, and not every single person's connection to a certain color will be the same. I'd never even thought of that.
Right. So if somebody who's almost drowned might be afraid of pale blue or something.
Right, because of water.
Associations
with water.
like that. Or they saw a green snake, so they're afraid of snakes and green. There's 6 emotions that, regardless of race, creed, or color, everybody experiences. And they are joy and sadness, disgust, surprise, anger, and fear. And all other feelings we have are learned, are social emotions. Like jealousy is not an innate emotion. In some cultures, there is no jealousy. In other cultures, there is different things that are considered beautiful. Mm-hmm. For example, in some culture, a large fat man with a big belly is considered very handsome in some native cultures, but wouldn't be the same here.
Yeah, so, to each their own.
Exactly.
Well,
so those secondary emotions are quite interesting. If you combine surprise and fear, 2 primaries, what does that come off like?
Oh, wow. I had not thought of it. Well, you've been busy. You've been painting up a storm.
Right.
Because you're going to have some 40 works of art.
Right.
That will be on display at Cultivate 712. It's opening on the 1st of September. And Sandi, you are teaming up with Charles to write music for your flutes that coordinate with those pictures. And we're going to hear her play in just a minute. So really excited. But let's talk a little bit about your music. When did you start playing native flutes? What got you interested in them?
Well, one time I was going to a church retreat at Mo Ranch, and I went to the music store in Fredericksburg, and I saw a native flute. I didn't know what it was. I just picked it up in the store and started blowing it, and I loved the sound of it. And so I bought it and took it to Mo Ranch and started doodling with it. It came with the CD to kind of tell you. I was a professional flautist. I'd played in symphonies and
So flutes were not new
I
to
played
you.
real flutes, but I
Real
never
flute,
played
yeah.
little wooden things that only had 6 holes, no thumbs, no keys, and at different scales, different fingerings. And I just bought it and started playing with it. And then about 5 years ago, I found out there was a group of people who played native flutes in Central Texas. And so I went to one of their meetings, and I found out there are people all over the world, literally, that buy these Native American flutes, and they play them. And it's a very, very big thing all over the world. And every flute is handmade. They are different colors, they're different woods, and so they really go well with Charles Wallis's paintings because each flute has a different sound color. Like an oboe sounds one color, or a trombone, depending on the range or whatever it does.
Now, how would you describe the guy? I've heard of that, sound colors, before, meaning tonality, or what? How would you
It's-
describe it?
Well, it's tonality because you can have like 5 flutes in the same key. All the native flutes are each one made in a different key.
Ah.
They have a different tone
Kind of like
center.
clarinets and saxophones, aren't they sort of
Yeah, they
different
have
keys?
a range of notes.
Okay.
They're not in a key. They're just a range. You can
Ah.
play any note. And the native flutes have a range, but each one has a range of an octave and a half. And the color is produced by the wood. Like a lot of them are made out of aromatic cedar, or I have one that I'm going to play that's made out of burled maple, and they're just made out of different woods, and the woods have a different sound that gives you a different feeling. Kind of like when you see a color. When you see red, you might see excitement or you might see anger.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to one of the flutes I'm going to play it 2 times. One time I'll play it real pretty so it's blissful, and then one time I'm going to play it where it's real anxiety laden. And so you can hear the same color, just like in painting, can be used for opposite emotions, but you still feel that color or the sound tonality that you hear out of the instruments. And then some of them are higher and some of them are lower. So you're going to hear my lowest instrument, and then you're going to hear my highest instrument. Of course, the highest is going to be real happy, and the lowest is
Like
going
a
to be pretty
piccolo.
sad.
Yeah.
And then the middle can do anything. So I'm going to
Yeah.
give you those 3 later on, but they correspond perfectly to his art because his art is so expressive and has so much emotion and so much color. And I try to bring the color out of the instruments, which you will hear. They're sounds you've never heard before because I created new sounds
Did
to
you?
go with his art and ways to represent that because I do not use written music. It's all just drawing, and I look at his paintings, and you'll hear it later. But
So now you composed, but you were looking at specific
well, I'm
pictures, and you'll
composing-
see them as she's playing them.
Yeah, it's called ekphrastic music. You can do ekphrastic poetry, ekphrastic music, where you're like you can write a poem about a piece of art. I play a piece of music about art, but it's my composition, and so I can play it over and over. But I'll change it. It's kind of like jazz. You have
Yeah.
a head or a melody, main melody,
Right.
an idea, but sometimes you might be more fast or slow or ba-ba-da-da, just how you feel when you're in that emotion.
Yeah.
Like when I'm looking at his sadness, sometimes I'm thinking I'm crying because I'm hurt. Sometimes I'm grieving because someone died. I might be sad just because I didn't get my ice cream, you know.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
it
Just
depends
kind of
on
have the blues.
how you feel. Like when you look at his paintings, you feel those feelings.
Yes.
But every time you see the painting, you might feel a different degree of sadness. And I'm going to play you different degrees of sadness.
Well, I can't wait. Want to talk a little bit more to Charles about your background. I know you went to Baylor, and
Right.
you have a fine arts degree from Baylor. When did you know you wanted to be an artist? I mean,
Oh,
professionally,
wow.
this was your thing.
Well, I used, when you're a kid, you draw a lot anyway in school.
Oh yeah,
and
kids are
around.
young
It
crayons. They're
just-
always doing.
Well, some lady at my dad's church saw some of my artwork and went and bought me about $20 worth of art supplies, and I was hooked immediately from the recognition and that I got from that experience.
Right. How old were you?
I don't know, 11,
Oh,
12.
yeah.
Fairly young, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So you continue to hone your skills at Baylor. I've been able to go to some of the art displays and exhibitions that
Yeah.
they have with their. I mean, some really, really talented students.
Right. There are. I mean, I graduated in 1966, which was a lifetime or so ago.
that was
But
a
there
hot
were
minute ago.
three professors and a chairman in the art department
Yeah,
at Baylor at that time, and we were over by Hind Roxy Grove in
Oh, yeah.
the White House.
Yep.
And
Yep.
now I think there's like 16 or 17 professors in the art department there.
Yeah.
But it was a very rigorous training. You know, we started out, they gave us a picture of a skeleton. We had to draw all the muscles on it and 3 overlays. So we knew how the muscles
Really?
were beneath the skin. When I looked at your arm, I could tell you what muscle was underneath it for a while. So it helped you draw proper
Yeah.
shapes and
Yeah.
proportions.
How fascinating! Yeah, I mean anatomy. I mean you're learning all these things, and your art. I mean you do a lot of different things.
Right.
You do portraits.
Right.
You do landscape. I mean, in other words, some people like to focus on one thing in particular, but now this show that you're doing with the primary colors and the emotions there are a lot of faces. I mean, I've
There are
seen
a lot
some
of
of
faces in the primary emotions, and there's one landscape scene in feeling the bliss of nature's beauty.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely.
And then most of the others, primary colors, are just exercises, abstract in using red, blue, and yellow with white and black.
Which,
And-
by the way, if you come to the opening on September 1st, you're asked to wear primary color
Right.
or black and white.
Or black and white. That's
I mean,
correct.
the pictures from that are going to be awesome.
And the hors d'oeuvres and drinks are going to be red, yellow, and blue as well.
There you go. Why not? I mean, but that's that's the basis of colors. The color wheel, is these primary colors.
Right.
And I know you've even done something in pointillism. I mean, you do a
Right.
lot of things.
Right. I've done things with this that I've never done before, like yarn
Oh, really?
and glitter, and I've never used
Glitter?
glitter before. and there's some metallic gold leaf in one of the ones with glitter. So I've done
Fabulous.
different things that I've not done before. So it's going to be a lot of variety of styles.
Well, you have been recognized. The 87th Texas House of Representatives passed a resolution in April of 2021 recognizing your art. What
Right.
was that experience like?
Well, a couple of friends made that happen. A legislative director for state senator in Houston, and a friend of his in Austin, who's a friend of mine, who has been a gallery manager, collaborated and got it done, and Andy Anderson signed off on it. So,
Yeah.
So it was done.
Yeah. Doc Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Not the weatherman.
Oh,
got it.
yeah, Doc Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, so you graduated from Baylor and immediately opened a studio. And
I worked in art while I was in Baylor in a printing company, and then opened a design studio after about a year of doing freelance stuff, and brought some other people in to help. Did that for about 10 years. So
Yeah. So you never kind of went through the starving artist period. You were able to kind of support yourself with it.
The reason I went into commercial art was I did not want to be one of those.
You prefer to be in one that's eating regularly.
Right. Most artists don't have that as a primary job anyway.
Right. I would think so. What about you, Sandi? When did music become a part of your world?
Well, I started playing flute in elementary school in
Yeah.
5th grade and played all through school. And then I went to Texas Tech University and got a degree in music. And then I went on to be a band director, orchestra director, choir director, all that kind of jazz, and started playing in some little local orchestras and different, played in a professional woodwind quintet. And then I started teaching some college music at Mary Hardin Baylor and Temple College. And I've just always done it ever since I was 10 years old. It's what I do. And my husband and I had the Horton duo for years and
Oh, yeah,
years.
Jeff, your husband,
He's a
fabulous
wonderful
guitarist.
Yeah.
He's fabulous,
We
fabulous.
played every style of music
Yeah.
there is. And so
Yeah.
I infiltrate all that into my native flutes because a lot of native flute players do transcriptions of other songs. So So
Oh,
I do
really?
a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Celtic music still,
Do
and
you?
I do transcriptions for the native flute because you can also add animal sounds using the native flute, and you can add different sounds you can't use like with an Irish whistle or with a regular flute or recorder. There's just so much more variety, and so every time I go to a festival, I buy a new flute, just about. So
Yeah,
I-
your
and
collection is up to what?
25
Twen-
right now. I just got a new one. I guess 26. I just went to a group in Dallas, and I play all the ones that are available, and one will just fit me because somebody else won't like that flute because you have to match the flute to the player, and then you let the flute play. And like on this one song I'm going to do for the opening Celebrate Color, it starts playing some. I don't even know how to write it down, but every time it plays the same thing.
Okay.
The flute just does it. So I
Wow.
just let it play. I'm just here, and it comes through me. I just look at his paintings, and he inspires me, and his work inspires me. And the flute does it.
That is just
it.
remarkable. that is a remarkable collaboration, and it's just such a great idea and a first for the two of you. I would think a first in Waco
Yeah.
for this kind of thing. And I'm really excited because when we come back after a quick break, we're going to hear you play, and you'll be playing specifically to pictures. So let's talk a little bit about the first one is sort of representative of the opening of the show.
Yeah. The poster that tells the name of the exhibit called Celebrate Color. It's an abstract art with all the primary colors in it, and so I'm going to use a little teeny weeny flute because it's real happy, and he calls it joy or exuberance is what the feeling you're supposed to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to look at that painting, and I've written down musical ideas, and then I will play to his painting.
Okay.
And so it'll be very, very, very happy. And then he has a sadness one where this girl is crying, and he's put so much emotion
Yeah,
into
there's
it.
angst in that picture. Yeah, for
and,
sure.
And my flute is going to it's going to slide around, and it's going to cry.
Yeah.
And and you're going to see how the different flutes can sound. And then the middle flute will do a happy and a sad song. So you can see each flute doesn't have to just be happy or sad, just like the colors aren't happy or sad. They can be lots of things.
Yeah.
Well, when we come back, we're going to hear Sandi Horton play her native flutes to Charles Wallis art. This is a first. Stay with us.
Girl, real talk. This whole it's new year, time to reinvent myself trash is not the vibe for 2024. You can find someone who loves you for you, as you are. You don't need to read a stack of self-help books, only eat sad salads, or start meditating at 5 a.m. to be ready for dating. So yeah, my advice is to download Bumble and find someone who embraces you the way you are right now. Let me know how it goes.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, streaming January 25th, only on Netflix.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
This first song is from Moments of Exuberance that goes with the title of the exhibit, Celebrate Color. to show the range, this one is Sadness. This is a painting where Charles painted, looks like a young person crying. So this bass flute made out of burled maple will cry.
Very
Almost
nice, Sandy.
heard a sob in there. And really, when you kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one on the YouTube channel, it's 4 minutes long. That was just little pieces of it. You didn't get to hear all of it. This is another flute. It's made out of aromatic cedar. It's made by a company in Arizona and called High Spirits. And it's going to be based on a painting. I'm looking at feeling the bliss of nature's beauty. And so I'm kind of feeling a compound duple meter, boo-da-da-doo-da-da, something real pretty. The water is rolling down the stream, and you'll hear it played beautifully, because the next song, it's not going to be beautiful. Feeling the bliss of nature's beauty.
That's nice,
pretty.
Sandy.
Going to use the same
It
instrument.
sounds so much better live than it does listening to it on my phone for YouTube.
Yeah, it's just recorded on a phone for the YouTube channel too. So, well, this one is Stifling Anxiety. This is one of my favorite paintings because it has all these bright colors coming up, and at the bottom you'll see a little white man. All the color is drained out of him, and he's had so much anxiety, and then he just feels like nothing. So that's what this flute is going to play. It's going to get anxious, 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 and then you just feel like you're just completely drained. You don't have any blood in you anymore. You don't have anything in you. And then he'll keep getting anxious. He's trying to stifle it, but he can't. And it's going to be that same flute that just played blissfully is now going to be anxious.
nice, Cindy.
So there's
Sandi, that was just awesome. Your talent just blows me away, and it just it does sort of transport you to another place, as the art does as well, Charles. And so, those were the emotions, and now the primary colors. Your
Right.
shirt. I said, why
Yeah.
didn't you wear something bright?
Yeah, well, I looked and looked for a bright red, white, red, yellow, and blue shirt, and found one. I had to order it twice to get the right size, since it was made in China and the sizes are so different.
That's right. You never know where you're going to get. But we know what you're going to get with your art, and it's
Right.
fabulous. And this is a little bit more abstract with
Right.
the colors.
And the primary colors, it's going to be all abstract stuff and different sizes. The largest is 48 by 60, which is pretty good size, all the way down to these that are 16 by 20, which are easier to carry around. But if you look at this, they're all going to be the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and black and white, except when you add white or black to tint or shade one of the primary colors. So the white here is just the ground of the canvas, and this is kind of like a Marc Chagall or Andrew Calder type look. But this is one, and part of this exercise is to illustrate the many different looks you can get from the same thing or the same
Right,
set
correct.
of things.
Oh, wow.
So this one is
That's amazing.
more of a splatter type painting. And
it.
again, it's the red, yellow, blue, black, and white. And this one takes in some of mixing of white and black with the primary colors, such as red and black here, touch of black and yellow here,
Yeah.
which gives a bit of a tint. And here's some pink and black, which is gray. So there's a whole variety. No two of these look alike, and there are about 25 of them. So they all have different styles and different
Just
looks.
beautiful. And you may have said, is it oil or what is
These are acrylic.
Acrylic,
But some
okay.
there are some that are oil,
Okay.
and there will be some that are coated with rosin, clear rosin.
Oh, that
kind
gives
of
it a whole new look.
A thick coat of clear rosin over them.
Wow.
So it just looks different. Yeah.
Yeah. And you say you've worked on a lot of different medium. You've got yarn and glitter and
Yeah, yarn was fairly tedious. I know when the first time you do something,
yeah.
gluing yarn on canvas, you have to learn some tricks. Fortunately, with Google, you can pick up a lot of tricks about anything you want to do in a short amount of time.
Oh man, that is fabulous. And also, these works of art are for sale.
Yes, they will all be for sale at decent prices, Waco type prices.
Well, and so I know you have a wonderful website,
Right.
and you have your artwork there with prices. I mean, it's
Right.
pretty user friendly.
Right. It's charleswallis.com, and also on Fine Art America, and there's one in Europe that I'm on called Singular. So
I mean, you've won awards though from lots of different shows and
Right.
all of that kind of thing. I mean, certainly your name is well known in the art world.
well, at least it is local.
Yeah.
Locally.
Yeah.
I currently have work in 9 different locations in galleries, and most of them are in Texas. One is in Cincinnati, Ohio, which happens to be a real hotbed for art. If anybody
Really?
is curious about that,
I did not know that. Yeah.
I did not either.
Good. So you do some fair amount of traveling, I guess, too.
Well, I do. I ship a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I travel around Texas quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, this is a major show coming up. It's the whole month of September.
Right.
And it starts on September 1st, and that's when, Sandi, you'll be performing that evening. That's from 6 to 9. And you'll talk a little bit, like we are today, talk about your music, talk what you've done. And then when the closing ceremonies, I guess you have this closing reception, is the 22nd of September. And Frank Exum, the wonderful classical guitarist, will be playing at that. But you'll do a little more extensive talk, right?
Right. I'll talk about how I made the painting, and she'll talk about how the music and sample it again. But during the show, there will be QR codes on all the emotions paintings. They're 9, and they're all very large.
Yeah, I have
like
this right here.
48 by 48.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
yeah, some are very, very big, yeah.
And they'll each have this, so at any time someone wanted to go by the show, they can use their QR code scanner and listen to the music while they're there with the painting.
That's right. There's a little dinosaur with a flute. Okay, Sandi, how did you come up with that?
I was afraid I might forget what each QR code was once I did the recordings for YouTube. I thought they all look just alike. They have a dinosaur in the middle. I thought, and just in case I get them mixed up or lose the label, I'm going to do a color of his flute.
The flute.
Using the paint program. And if it's a small flute, it's a small. If it's a large flute, I made it large.
This is a big one for jealous eyes burning bridges with their light.
Yeah,
that's this one. So you can go to the website, correct? Your website, to see
They're
this
not
exhibit.
on there yet. I just
Well,
finished-
and in time, yeah, when it
in
happens.
time you can't. It
So-
will be listed in one folder as this.
It would be
exhibit.
great, to go to Cultivate 712 to see them in person. But if you'd like, you could do it online too.
Right. You
That's
sure
remarkable technology.
Or you can go to my YouTube channel too, because they're all on there.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
yesterday I put 2 more on there, and with just in a matter of an hour, like 20 or 30 people had already viewed it.
Right.
I mean, because they see his paintings. That's the thumbnail print that's on each one, and it's his painting. And then they open it up, and you get to hear the music. And so it's really fun to have his paintings on my music.
Oh, it is awesome. I mean, I really am so excited about this. And again, your YouTube channel, how can folks find you?
If you just go to YouTube and type in Sandi Horton.
With an I. Sandy with an
It'll
I.
probably come up.
Horton. And you and Jeff still playing around town?
Not really, but we play for our dogs.
Well, they're appreciative.
Yeah, I'm mostly traveling around doing stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is just an amazing thing, celebrating emotion and primary colors. And if you come to the opening on the 1st of September, wear your primary colors.
That's right.
Or
Wear
black and
red,
white.
yellow, blue, or black and white, and enjoy the hors d'oeuvres that are red, yellow, and blue,
And it's
the
free.
drinks that are yes, it is free.
It's
open to the
free and
public.
open to the public there
Right.
at 712 Austin Avenue, Cultivate 712, kind of just down from the Hippodrome.
Right. It's 6:30ish is when we're going to
do our
play
show.
the music
Okay.
and look at the paintings together and
All right,
talk a
good,
little bit,
good.
kind of an introduction
Yeah.
on September the 1st.
Well, this has just been a joy. Sandi, thank you so much for sharing your talent with us today. And Charles, your beautiful artwork.
Thank you.
It's a joy for me. Thank you both.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next time on Central Texas Life. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.